So first things first, let's go over what's happening. I think now, and then we'll go over, and then we can kind of work our way back and understand how we got here, what's going on. So what we're looking at here is a map of Armenia and Azerbaijan. These are two countries that are post-Soviet countries and are two countries that are post-Ottoman countries. They're controlled by the Ottoman Empire before they are controlled by the Soviet Union. The place that is in, I don't know, light blue, I guess, Nagorno-Karabakh, is an area that is obviously in the borders of Azerbaijan, but is an ethnically Armenian territory, and a territory that is very historically Armenian. The Armenians have lived there for a very long time. To the left there, you can see another little orange spot that is also part of Azerbaijan. That place is called Nakinban. I'm sorry, I'm not pronounced most of these words. This was another part of Azerbaijan that was given over or another part of historically Armenian territory that was given over to Azerbaijan, but the Soviets decided to some would say ethnically cleanse, some would say population transfer. That bottom left orange bit there moved all the Armenians out, or moved all the Armenians out of it, and so there was just Azerbaijan. But that didn't happen in Nagorno-Karabakh. So why is this a problem? Why do Armenians feel they have a stake to a piece of land in Azerbaijan? Why is Azerbaijan and Armenia two different countries? Well, let's go all the way back. Before we go any further, I'd like to say that there's four axes of history here that I think are at play: Russia, Turkey, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. I don't think I understand the Azerbaijan side as well. I'm going to kind of work on that going forward, but I know more of the USSR, Armenia, Turkey side of this. So I'm sure that this is going to lead to somewhat of a bias, but hopefully I'll be able to stem that as much as I can. Regardless, so why are these two different countries? What are these countries? Well, Armenians and Azeris are two different ethnic groups. These are groups that historically have lived in this area for as long as basically people have been in this area. Armenia was one of the first Christian kingdoms. They were a kingdom that existed sort of in the sort of in the general cultural milieu of what we would consider sort of classical Greece, that kind of thing. While Azerbaijan has historically had more of a Persian Iranian influence. Throughout the years, these two areas have been controlled by a wide variety of empires. The Sassaniid empires in the 17th, I believe the 17th century, was a Persian empire. The Russians invaded Armenia in the, I believe, 1800s, maybe I think 1800s, to defend Christians that lived in Armenia. Azerbaijan has been historically Muslim. Should have mentioned that. And Armenia is obviously historically Catholic or Catholic Christian. But regardless, these two areas had been relatively well managed up until the 20th century by the Ottoman Empire. To be fair, I don't know the history exactly of the conquest of Azerbaijan or Armenia by the Ottoman Empire. That's something I'd be interested in learning. But I have not. I have an audiobook about the Ottoman Empires. Have not cracked into it. Cracked into it yet. But anyways, and so these two areas were managed relatively well by the Ottomans during the Ottoman rule. The Ottomans would use a system called millets, which would be ethnically based, ethno-religious based government systems, where they would basically appoint local leaders that are, let's say Catholic Armenian, Muslim Armenian, Muslim, Shia, Azeri, etc., etc., and then they would allow they would allow those groups to kind of govern themselves. And so the sort of Nagorno-Karabakh question, the Armenian question, as it's been said, whether or not Armenia should have its own country, has been something that is sorry, this has been a question that's kind of been on the table, but has been stemmed because of the fact that historically these two places have been mixing between empires for so long. So during the First World War, Turkey was in Armenia. The Ottoman Empire is not Turkey at the time, was of course allied against the Allies and fought a very brutal war that ended up resulting in the breakup of the Armenian Empire. And the Armenian Empire broke up into a very fractured series of political groupings. states like Syria, Iran, Lebanon, and Israel and Jordan, these things were put under the mandate of Palestine, or sorry, Syria was put under the mandate of was a French mandate, but they're put under European mandates regardless. And Armenia and Azerbaijan and Jordan were given under the protectorate of the newly arising Soviet power, and they created a federation that was called something like the Kashkania Federation, something like that, which was a very short-lived little state that then got rolled into the Armenian, Azerbaijani, and Georgian Soviet Socialist republics, which is what they existed as for a long time. But before that happened, during the First World War, a very, very tragic event happened, which is called the Armenian Genocide. The Armenian Genocide was a very, very horrible series of ethnic cleansing and genocidal campaigns meted out by the Young Turks, which is a political party in Turkey, specifically the Party for Union and Progress, I believe, which was the bit more radical, or no, I mean, radical in the sense of anti-nationalist, anti-Armenian nationalist. And this genocide was helped by Kurds and helped by Azerbaijani militias. And so this is where the new current feud begins, is the fact that Armenians feel that they are pushed in between a very unfriendly Azerbaijani side and a very unfriendly Turkish side, which they feel have both tried to ethnically cleanse them from the region, which is not necessarily wrong. That is kind of, has happened. um the Young Turks, it was actually Cenk Uygur was the leader of the Young Turks. I'm joking. It was Enver Pasha. But anyways, and so many Armenians fled out of Turkey. One of I believe on this map here, the state that's just to the left of this map is Turkey there, modern day Turkey, and of course modern day Iran, which are two states that border Armenia. And many Armenians fled out of Turkey into Armenia, and many Armenians in Armenia, kind of felt that the Soviet Union and Russia, it was described in one of the papers I was reading as a phrase in uh, one of the phrases that that the Armenians would describe Russians as is Uncle Russia. And so the Armenians run into the Russian controlled areas. The Transcaucasia Republic is formed, and the Transcaucasia Republic is formed, and then of course that collapses into the Soviet Socialist Republics of Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. So Nagorno-Karabakh was an area that, of course, was ethnically Armenian, but under the Soviets, they were able to more or less allow sort of a complicated autonomous region of it. I believe that Armenia was an oblast, which I don't actually know the difference between an oblast and a republic in the Soviet Union. I'm not sure how much there wasn't a ton of autonomy really, but for the first 40 or so years, most of Armenia and Azerbaijan were kind of these kind of nationalist urges were kind of stemmed by the development the Soviet Union brought. They, an incredible amount of industrialization and advancement, and Armenia and Azerbaijan early on were spared some of the more Stalinistic policies of mass ethnic cleansing, mass population transfers, and things. Because, of course, right next to Armenia there is Georgia, which is the Stalin's homeland, and is Stalin's homeland, and is of course, he sees the kind of Armenians and Azerbaijanis as kind of, maybe ethnic cousins, so to speak. But this was able to kind of chill until after the death of Stalin. After the death of Stalin, one of the things that Nikita Khrushchev did is that he pointed out how many times the Armenians had been shafted, had been deceived by the Soviet government. The reason is because early on in the Soviet control of Armenia, the Soviets promised Armenia Nagorno-Karabakh. They would say, we will give you Nagorno-Karabakh. We will make we will make sure we will redraw our borders. And then, of course, they kind of forgot that the leaders changed. There were some party purges, and the people in the Armenian Soviet Republic government that wanted to do this ended up kind of dying or being killed or being excommunicated from the party or losing power. Things like the First World War, things like the famines that were going on in the Soviet Union, the Holodomor and such. These things kind of took precedent, and the national question subsided. And so this national question was reignited. Let me get my notes here. In the 1960s by a Armenian Soviet poet. Let me see if I can find her name here. I'm sorry, I have like 14 pages of notes here. She gave a speech at a party congress in the 1960s, in which she basically said that she decried the she spoke at the I think it was the 26th Party Congress of the Armenian Communist Party. But she went up and she spoke about how Stalin had lied to the people of Armenia, how that he had promised them Nagorno-Karabakh, and he did this and all these kind of things, and reignited the Soviet question. Which led to another set of purges and another set of I'm going to put the woman's last name in a chat here if you want to look her up. I don't know how to pronounce that. But this of course led to a new set of purges, a new set of repressions, because the Soviet Union in the 1960s was not very interested in these kind of reconciliations. Now these kind of pushing back against the Soviet hegemony was, of course, one of the reasons that led to the destruction of the Soviet Union and the falling apart of the Soviet Union. And so, I'm sorry, I'm taking a look here in my notes here. Let me take a drink here. I'm sorry, I feel like I've been absolutely monologuing here forever.
I muted my mic and I took myself off screen. So
yeah, I see. That's right. Sorry, I wanted to take a moment here to kind of look at my notes here. But anyways, and so the Armenian question begins to be the Armenian. What I mean that be whether or not Armenia should have Nagorno-Karabakh, what it means for an Armenian state to be an Armenian state. This is something that is reignited towards the end, the falling of the Soviet Union, and so when Armenia comes into itself, when the Soviet Union collapses, what Armenia decides to do is they decide to basically occupy Nagorno-Karabakh. They basically say, well, Azerbaijan is going to ethnically cleanse Nagorno-Karabakh, and if we don't do this, Armenians will be ethnically cleansed. Now, can I say that if that is a true assessment? I cannot yet. I have seen some very convincing evidence so far. Mayors of towns that border Nagorno-Karabakh literally referencing the Nazis, people that are military generals in the Azerbaijani military literally saying that they wanted to finish what the Young Turks started. Azerbaijan has been a country that has been allied with Turkey since its inception. The Turkey is, of course, a country that has systematically denied the Armenian genocide, and I worry that I worry that there's some truth to this, but again, I have yet to research the Azerbaijani side as much, and I want to do that. I want to understand that more before I make a claim on that. So again, I don't want to make any kind of I don't want to accuse anybody of kind of fascist leanings without being able to prove that, which I can't. But that was the reason why Armenia occupied it in the first place. And so they since the 1990s, since the dissolution of the Soviet Union, there has been people in Nagorno-Karabakh. There was a short war in the 1980s and 1990s called the Nagorno-Karabakh War between Azerbaijan and Armenia to sort of settle this. The stalemate is what we exist in now, where Nagorno-Karabakh is occupied by Armenia but claimed by Azerbaijan, and we are now entering where we are now. In 2015, there was a 6-day war between Azerbaijan and Armenia, where there were some border skirmishes. But this new war, this new conflict, seems to be a new type. There are yes, there are Armenian forces outside Nagorno-Karabakh, but I am not too positive about all the places, and so I don't really want to speak about something that I'm not sure about. But anyways, somebody said that in chat. But anyways, and so where we are now is that Azerbaijan and Armenia have now started open conflict. There has been over 100 casualties on both sides, military casualties. There have been drones fired into the capital of Armenia. There have been drones and things fired at Armenian or Azerbaijani towns. I just saw a video today that Azerbaijan is showing giant screens in their main capital with videos of drone strikes on the capital of Azerbaijan, and Azir, excuse me, yes, and so the conflict right now is supported by Armenia is supported by Russia, and Azerbaijan is supported by Turkey. Unfortunately, there was a rumor that, or I thought that this was a fake rumor, but after looking at Jake Hanrahan's Twitter and several other Twitters of some people that I respect, it does seem that Turkey is sending some fighters from the Free Syrian Army, which have just recently been accused of war crimes. There have been videos released of Free Syrian Army troops mutilating the body of Kurdish journalists, female journalists, horrible things. They're in Islamist militia. They're sending them into Azerbaijan. So there have been things said by the Azerbaijan military that I think you can construe as ideas of ethnic cleansing. We are going to remove Armenians from the region. This is Azeri region. These kind of things, and the fighting does not seem to stop.